Hello, everyone. We are here with a new phase of this story. We spent a year on the first one, and now I'm excited to move on to the second one because I'm really going to have fun with this one. Some of you may not. No, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Promise it'll be fun.
Yes.
All right.
Reviews.
Reviews. So we've got a lot of reviews to go through. To be fair, we're basically doing 2 chapters worth of reviews. And I think a couple people might have been playing catch up, but. Let's see what you guys had to start. Let's see what you guys had to say about the couple of bombshells that I dropped.
All right, Light Hero Kaiser.
Majorlitis.
Majorlitis. Great chapter mate. Can't wait for more. And Akurui better be okay. And they better use that quirk reset on him. They have to. Blade Hero Light signing out.
You know what? I'm going to address that in this chapter that you guys are about to hear in a little bit. So I'll let that do the explaining for me.
Joe Clone. Akurui didn't deserve this. That hit quite close to home. I had a cousin who fell victim to a brain tumor. The anguish here in the story is palpable. I sincerely hope you cure him somehow. Spoiler ahead, maybe if Ares rewind quirk? At least long enough to design another quirk reset thing for Akurui himself? He's got to have had the designs for the power-up necklace around somewhere. Yaoyorozu can make a new one. Eri rewind Akurui, power him up long enough to result in his quirk, and then no more brain tumor. End of spoiler. That's just my plan, though, and since it requires events to happen much later, I doubt it will be considered at all.
Is that the end of it?
No.
All right, just pausing point. So that's a good thought. Yeah, Eri could definitely rewind him to the point before he overdid it. The problem is, like, at least as far as I know, like in the show, she still doesn't know how to control her powers. Mm-hmm. So if she tried to help him, she'd probably just rewind him into nothing. And the other issue is that even if she did rewind him to the point before he lost all his motor functions and stuff, the tumor would still be there because that is a part of him. Mm-hmm. She can't rewind individual aspects of a person, like, not voluntarily yet.
Because what that reminded me of was that character who shrank the tumor in... Oh, this is a spoiler for Fairy Tail. Never mind. I'm not going to say that.
I think everybody here is well, whatever. I mean...
There is a similar story with a tumor being shrunk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like it would have to be where you have to, like, be able to shrink one individual part.
Yeah, so the thing is that Eri doesn't know how to rewind individual aspects of a person, at least not yet. The only reason Chisaki was able to do it was because he experimented on her a lot to figure out how to do it. And that was resetting someone to the point where they didn't have a quirk. Even if somehow Eri could rewind him, like, into a point where he doesn't have a quirk anymore, the tumor would still be there because that's a different physical attribute. So maybe she'll get there eventually, but the question then would be whether or not Eri can do it while Akurui is still alive. Because you guys will find out more about this later on in the chapter, but things definitely didn't go well for him.
All right, Kurai plus Izuku plus All Might fight. Glorious! Everything I was hoping for. Plus, All Might has to reveal the truth to Kurai now. Whoa! Talk about a big story change. Best place to do it. Okay, now that I'm done, let me watch the next chapter on YouTube since you've graciously graced us with this gift. See you on the anniversary, Mataris.
Well, I'm glad you liked the fight chapter, man. I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that.
Also, so hard. Sorry to hear about your cousin as well.
Yeah, man. He'd messaged me about that before, but I think this is the first time he's mentioned it in a review. So, you have our condolences for that, man. That can't be easy.
Hard. That's really hard.
Yeah, that's.
Thank you for your review.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Silver.
I think I'm going to take this one.
There's lots of
stuff, and there's lots of dramatic reading and lots of references, as I understand it. All right,
okay, here we
the
go.
following is meant to be read in a dramatic voice. They said that no one could do it. They said that it could not be done. But Mataris looked at each and every one in the eyes and said, "Screw you, I can make a fate for a character that was worse than death. Screw you, I can make a character still live but be a living husk of their former self. And I, for one, salute him, because as easy as it is to say no, only the greatest among us can say, screw you." Dramatic reading over. Wow, I mean, I kind of figured that you were going to kill Akurui, but I didn't think you would go and essentially Dementor's kiss the guy. I hadn't thought of it that way, but I guess that's pretty much what happened. Although, no, Akurui still has higher brain function, even if he can't move. Sorry, lost my place. And after I started to enjoy him the most, more than any character that you have in this particular story. Oh well, at least he can enjoy having a room next to Asuna in the same hospital, with her father not pulling the plug, if not for the fact that Kirito won't let him, even though she's leeching the man dry. Kaminari, hey, I'm gonna do this really strong electric attack that can somehow maybe contribute to being the villain. Shut up, Kaminari! Come back when you're a main character. Kaminari. Rest in peace, Kaminari's screen time. Also, Yagi is revealed to Hikari. That's cool. I wonder where that's gonna go. The way Hikari dies is because he is murdered immediately by All Might because he found out his secret identity. No! Dude, what? No! What? I'm pretty sure the only hitmen that All Might knows are the ones that he put in jail. Maybe hire some assassins to take him out through some convoluted murder plot because Hikari didn't want to get in the kitchen to make All Might a sandwich. Honestly, who would blame it? What? You're stretching yourself a little bit with this one, man. You're stretching yourself. Okay. Lastly, based on your Insta, the device Akurui made looks suspiciously like 7 Dragon Balls. Well, there's 7 things in there, but they ain't Dragon Balls. I'll get to that later. In all seriousness, I really liked this chapter, and the payoff was really good. I can't wait for more, my friend Silver. Well, I'm glad you liked the chapter, and I'm glad to see these references keep coming, but that last one was just a really big stretch, man.
Love it. Alright. I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. Maybe not. Nope.
So as soon as you start talking, it's going to come back.
It is. Fairy Sing Girl. Poor Mina. I hope she will get a new dress and shoes after this.
This is a couple of chapters ago.
Okay, I was going to say, I was like, there's a very big discrepancy here about things people are upset about. Okay, I'm gonna assume you're not caught up yet. That was funny when Akurui was making fun of Kaminari for being dumb, and also when he called it on Bakugo and Kirishima being bad with directions. Bakugo and Kirishima both just make me want to facepalm all the way. They got lost like that. Really? Really, you two?
Yeah, I think that was everybody in the movie theater when they got lost.
All right.
That made me laugh.
Thank you, Fairy Sing Girl. All right, looks like she has another one later on.
Yep.
All right, guest. Good. Kurai finally knows the truth about All Might.
Told you it was coming!
Or at least half of it. I've been waiting forever for that.
I noticed!
By the way, can you please give a link to your Instagram page so that I can see your pictures of the story? Because I can't find it. And by the way, is Kurai really going to die, or are people just going to mistake him for dead? Because this thought has just occurred to me with his weakness gone. I doubt that even All For One could kill him now.
I ask you this, Emma. I've withheld things from you. I've withheld things from you guys for the sake of suspense before, but I haven't lied to you about anything.
All right. Well, thank you, guest.
Thank you.
All right, Fairy Sing Girl Legasp. You just said his name in your beginning author note. I thought you said you were never going to mention his name.
Oh, okay. So that's in response. So in the author's head note before the chapter started for this one, I said that I was going to include some fan service. This is the one where Todoroki and Hikari team up, and I was like, no, not that kind of fan service. What are you, Mineta? So I was like,
name.
So thanks to that, I went and saw this, and I was like, yeah. So I went and bleeped it out. I went and bleeped it out. So thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Anyway, looks like another great chapter.
Thank you.
Ha! Kirishima getting stuck against the wall was funny. I think someone likes Kirishima. And when all he needed to do was turn off his quirk. And poor Akurui, though. I hope he'll be okay after cutting off that villain's arm like that.
I think he has more pressing concerns.
Alright, but I think she's still a chapter behind.
Yeah.
Alright. Light here, thank you for your review.
Thank
Light
you.
Hero Kaiser, a great chapter mate. Can't wait for more. Also, you better heal Akurui. Summons sword made of light, or else. I am guessing Team Ruby will appear on the next chapter. blade here light sighting out.
Why are you getting violent with me, man? You'd lose.
How did he know that?
Oh, it was, I put a preview of each...
Oh, I was like...
Yeah, I put a preview of each chapter.
That's right, in the video.
Yeah, that too.
Video.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys know I'm not super thrilled about that. We'll talk about that later. It's fine.
You gotta let that go, man.
It's fine.
Another one from Silver.
Yeah, alright.
Gimme.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Let's see. Silver 4700 says, well, this was another interesting chapter that dealt with the aftermath of All Might's secret. Also, just the fluff between Hikari and Mina was nice, not gonna lie. Thanks, man. I don't have much to say again, all that much except that I can't wait to see what Hikari's next main conflict was going to be. I like how you're separating the arcs into your character's main conflict, with one being his quirk's drawback. Wonder what the next one's going to be. We'll actually get to that in the behind the scenes after the fact, and I think you guys will be interested to hear my thoughts on that one.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah. Let's see. Also, I totally know who the transfer students are. Everyone knows who the transfer students are that have seen the video, man. This should be good. Azoa, let me introduce the transfer students. Student 1, we must save my family. Student 2, the bandits are coming. Student 3, hey there, new class. Me and the crew are here to join you in my studies. I call them the crew, by the way. Now, I know what you're thinking. Are we really worthy of having such awesome guys in our class? Bakugo, I have literally never thought that about anyone. Student 3, but let me assure you, we would certainly be assistants to some people of your assets. So, let me introduce the crew. I call them the crew, by the way. So we've heard. My name is Keita, and the rest are NPCs. Midoriya. Wait, what? Yeah, my quirk allows me to make people act like NPCs in the party, so they always fight for me. Student 4. Always remember to jump. Jump! Keita. He acts like a tutorial NPC. Hikari. What do you mean tutorial? Hey, just because I can't play the game doesn't mean I can't play the game. Wink. I don't think you know how winking works. But seriously, considering your YouTube opening, I'm interested to see how you and core team... Oh wait, spoilers for the others reading this review. Go watch this freaking Your Hero Academia opening. Anyways, later, Silver. Well, thank you for your review. That one made me laugh. That was awesome.
That was pretty funny.
And thank you for not putting spoilers, man. I appreciate that. Unlike some people. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys.
Alright, very same girl. Poor Akurui. That was a reckless sacrifice on his part, but at least he was able to help Kurai one last time. I just hope he'll be able to recover, even if he may not be able to use his quirk anymore.
So that's the thing. So I don't know if I could... I'll go more into detail about this later in the chapters, but Akurui didn't lose his quirk. His quirk is a heteromorphic type. It doesn't turn off. It automatically turns on whenever he's exposed to sunlight in any form, whether that's redirected off the moon or if it's simulated sunlight like he was able to create, or obviously direct sunlight, but he can't turn his super intelligence on or off. That's part of what makes it so dangerous for him. The tumor will continue to grow and become more aggressive as he's exposed to more sunlight. So that's one of the main issues that he's facing now, is that he has accelerated his timetable by several years. If not, within the next couple of years, he will die. But more on that in the coming chapter. But no, he hasn't lost his quirk. I'll put that out there right now.
Okay. All right. And then this is her next review.
Okay, so I assume she's caught up by this point.
Yeah, first off, happy belated Easter.
Thank you.
Just since I'm a couple days late in saying it now. I hope you had a good Easter as well as you were posting this chapter.
I did have a really good Easter, actually. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I hope you had a good Easter, too.
All right. I'm glad Akurui is still alive, but sad that he has to spend the rest of his life as a cripple now after overusing his quirk. And now things just got interesting now that Kurai knows about All Might, as well as Izuku inheriting One for All from All Might and the future battle against All for One. Aw, Mina sleeping next to Kurai to keep him company was so cute. And that's it.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you liked the chapter so much. Yeah, man, I'm real excited to... Yeah, Kurai's in on the secret now. That's definitely going to change things up a fair amount. And I'm interested to see what you guys think of... how those changes come about.
All right. Guest. Marvelous. That's the only way to describe this chapter. I doubt that it could have been better than this. By the way, I'm still going by my theory that Kurai doesn't really die. He just gets mistaken for dead because he's not only incredibly powerful, but he's also incredibly wise. Also, please add in more Melissa and David's shield because I was incredibly disappointed that they were never used again after the movie. That's a good point. I was too, honestly.
Yeah. Well, they're not part. They weren't originally in the manga, so I feel like they fit in well in the part of the story that they're in, but Melissa at least will be she'll have some
role to play.
She'll have some role to play in the future. Yes, David Shield, he's going to jail. Unfortunately, he's going to be in jail for the rest of he's not going to be helping anybody.
Yeah.
So sorry about that, but yes, Melissa will definitely still have a role to play.
It finally came. It finally came.
Bless you.
Okay. Alright.
Alright, now we can get on with our lives.
Joe Clone, Second Amendment Academy. Funny. I thought you would call it Beacon, but I guess it works to explain why there's going to be guns going forward.
Yes, somebody got that joke. Alright, cool. Yes, I was hoping somebody would get that.
Oh, man. Okay, All Might recognized Kurai's power, and he's now basically Midoriya's teammate for the foreseeable future. Knowing that Izuku did this with his quirk's knowledge, I wonder how this would change a few dynamics down the road.
Oh, it will.
I'm glad Ida and Kurai finally made up. They deserve to be at each other's backs, not throats.
That's a pretty good way to put that, actually.
Yeah. Mina was pretty much the star of this one. She did everything she could to help her boyfriend, and I love her for it all. This was a whole banquet of feelings. As for Akurui, at least he can still write. Hopefully his quirk will still work to some capacity without killing him. The comparison between him and All Might that Kurai made felt just very stretchy to me.
Might have to have you elaborate on that a little more. I assume you're talking about how when Kurai says that All Might and Akurui ended up in the situations that they are in now because of the decisions that they made, on their own without consulting other people around them. Because All Might, he's a walking cadaver at this point. His health isn't great and he's losing his powers because he didn't listen to some of the people that cared about him before. Akurui, against the advice of his brother who told him, no, you should stay put while we take care of this, went along to help him anyways. He ignored his brother's advice, and now he's paying for it. Yes, he helped Kurai out, and that's good, but he's certainly paying a pretty hefty price for ignoring someone who knew what he was doing. All's well... Oh, no, not all's well that ends well in this case. That was just the parallel that I was trying to draw up. If... Maybe I didn't get that across clearly enough, but you might have to message me privately to explain a little more on that, because I'm not totally sure that I follow.
Okay. Happy 1 year to this story. Hope for many more to come.
Yeah, man. You know it.
Yes, I kind of forgot to talk about this in my Saiyan Tail review, but I loved Nalu interactions, and I really enjoyed Flying Lucy. That's so funny.
I'm still writing Saiyan Tail if you guys want to check that out.
All right. Silly Kira. Well, okay. I, need a minute.
This should be good.
Holy crap baskets. You built up the hype and I did not take it seriously enough. The fight, the revelations, the consequences. What are you doing to us, man? Sorry, let me back up and try that again. First off, Akurui. Just, ouch. Not only does he find out that his personal idol is the mastermind / complicit in a huge crime, but now he can't even move on his own. I know that a lot of people were theorizing that he would live past this due to the fact that he's mentioned in the prologue, but I kind of started to have a working theory that Akurui's birthday or death date would be the password to unlock the files that Kurai had hidden elsewhere. For whenever he ends up biting it. But this does seem to put a hole in that theory. Or does it? I suppose Akurui could still die from this. I don't know. I'm still trying to get the license plate of that truck you ran us over with. That's pretty good. Point is, I was fully expecting Akurui to die during this battle, but this almost seems worse because even if he survives, he's just a prisoner of his own flesh. He can't do anything on his own anymore, right? I guess I need to read the next chapter to find out more, but it seems as though he'll survive for now. Just yeesh. Now, second of all, that fight
I'm glad people liked Akurui so much as they built up to this, because
yeah.
I'm definitely getting the emotions out of you guys that I wanted.
Yeah, I was almost feeling like we hadn't introduced him as much enough. I mean,
yeah.
Before here, but it seems like it was enough.
I feel like we kind of sprinkled them in here and there, like throughout the build, but like once and like just enough to give people a favorable impression of him, and then like as soon as I really bring him in and really give people a reason to get attached to him, boom.
All right, now second of all, that fight scene. I didn't think that there could be a written iteration of the scene that would get as excited as the movie did, but you definitely made it pretty close. Hey, that's a pretty high compliment. I still think that the theater experience shakes this just a bit. No offense taken, but you definitely
dude, that was
best, and
dude,
it shows.
Dude, like I knew that like going into the theater, I knew that was the last time like we would get to see like All Might. You know, like, because at that point, in the anime, All Might had fought All for One. He retired. So to see him, like, bulk up and, like, go all out again one more time was a really great send-off.
That scene was epic, for sure. I was definitely blasting You Say Run on my headphones.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was definitely blasting it while I was writing that scene.
He blasts it a lot while he's writing the story. While reading the main fight. I especially like how you come to show something that you highlighted in the description of the story, how One for All and All for One are in a league of their own, but it won't always be that way, and now I can definitely see that coming to pass through Kurai, now that his powers are unshackled. Killer alert, by the way. Third All Might's secret is revealed. Wait, let's see.
Killer art.
Sorry. Killer art. Sorry, my brain is gone. Killer art, by the way. Cool. Made it a lot easier to envision the three of them going at full throttle against Wolfram. All right. Third. Sorry. There goes my nose, man. It's a stupid tree outside. I'm so allergic to it.
We gotta kill it.
Oh, man.
That thing needs to go.
It does. Oh, man. Okay. I'm not dying. Third. All Might's secret is revealed to the guardian hero. I had thought this would come to pass, though I thought he might figure it out closer to him Bakugo does in the original. That being said, I like this a lot better. Kurai is certainly about to have his hands full. Now, I'm off to read the next chapter because I somehow missed that there was an extra release until now. I also think I need comfort food. Bro, you and me both. Both, dude. I feel ya. Oh, man. All right, and this is Sulikira's last review for the last chapter.
All right.
Hello, Hikari. Have ya met PTSD? Also, sir...
How I Met Your Mother? Yeah, that's gotta be a How I Met Your Mother reference.
Also, sir, if I could ask you to stop rubbing salt in our wounds, you couldn't just let Akurui die a hero's death. No, you had to drag it out, make it slow and painful. That being said, I doubt Akurui will come to regret his actions, although he's been dealt a pretty bad hand in all of this. Yeah. And unlike Kurai, he doesn't have anyone special to help him through these new challenges. Still, it's clear he loves his brother enough to risk certain death, and it's really cemented to him as a hero in my eyes, man. See, I can't say. I wonder if they can guess who I just really wish I could ship him with. I wonder if they could guess. I bet.
You'll have to tell me afterward because I don't think
you don't remember.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you'll have to. I'm surprised you don't know who I ship him with.
I don't know. I don't know this. Okay.
I thought I told you this. I wonder if you guys can guess who I would ship him with if I could. All right. Even so, both brothers are going to have a rough go of it from here on out. True, Kurai's body is now restored, but it's clear that his mind is going to be suffering a great deal for this exchange.
Pause. Is it someone in this story?
In the story?
In
like the universe of My Hero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've told you this before.
I don't think... Okay. Wow. I don't...
You were outlining... I don't know.
Okay.
You were outlining something, and I was like, man, my feelings.
Huh.
Anyway.
All right.
He now also shoulders the burden of knowing about All for One, as well as having to muster up the resolve to fight him. I thought the way you handled that was rather inspired, because so far, only Midori and Bakugo know about it, in the show. And because both of them look up to All Might, they have no hesitation without committing themselves to fight. But Kurai isn't like them in that regard. He already experienced personal loss through his uncle, and now he's going through that hurt again with his brother, even if he isn't dead yet. I wasn't expecting this, his rather jaded reaction, but it definitely makes sense. He doesn't see this as a reason to get fired up. He sees another obstacle that could make people he cares about suffer, and he doesn't want it, but he's still enough of a realist to know that he doesn't really have a choice. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Thinks that All for One will likely be the one to do. Wait a second. They're coming up on All Might versus All for One fight, right? Something tells me that he's going to get involved in that a way that he really shouldn't. In a way that he really shouldn't. Are we already approaching his death? I'd say it's too soon in the story for that, but I also know your habit of pulling the rug out from under us. And you did say you'd continue the story beyond his death. Dang it, Mataras! I need answers! Ida and Hikari are back, baby. I wish it could have happened under better circumstances, but I'm glad that they're getting along again. You and me both, dude. Following that,
everyone is happy about that.
Relieved. They're over that, whatever that was. Mina and Kurai are pretty damn precious. I'm glad they realize that they love each other, but this also raises more questions for how this will change the story. There are too many possibilities running in my head to write them here, but I'm excited for them. Lastly, I saw the OP for this story and gimme. I want it now. Man, I wish this version of the show could be animated now.
I'm glad somebody's getting excited about all this.
Yeah, me too. Sometimes I forget that his fan fictions aren't the actual story. And then I get confused. And I'm like, well, in the anime when this happened, and Joe's like...
And I'm just like, that didn't happen in the anime. That was me.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Where am I? You built... okay. You built up the hype, and I assumed that we would have some time before that happened again. But no, you just can't stop yourself, can ya?
Nope.
The last chapter made me need comfort food. This one makes me need some NyQuil so I don't start bouncing off the walls. Gah! See you next chapter. That was funny. Oh, I love hearing from you guys. These are great.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's the last one.
I'm glad everybody seems to be really excited for the next phase. Like, I was a little worried about introducing the characters that are going to be coming in, but you guys are kind of selling it for me that I made the right decision, even if someone disagrees. We'll get more on that later, but enjoy the audio chapter, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Surprise exchange. The week leading up to the summer camp was one of the best and worst times in Kurai's life. It was good because he and Mina were closer than ever, hardly leaving one another's side in that time, except when it was time for one of them to go home at the end of the day. His quirk's negative effects had also been completely erased, allowing him to exercise the full range of his emotions without the threat of an aneurysm for the first time since childhood. It was also a terrible time for several reasons, the first being that after his brother had been transferred to the Hosu hospital in the mainland, the boy was given test after test to determine the range of the damage done to his brain, which turned out to be extensive. In addition to all the problems that the island doctors had begun to ascertain, the local specialist confirmed that the tumor had grown not only in size, but in aggression. He predicted that Akadori had perhaps 6 years left to live, all of which would be plagued with pain and frustration. He would continue to lose his motor function capabilities, and he would more than likely suffer from violent seizures every once in a while. When Kurai had suggested that Yayorozu remake the device that had cured him, Akadori had told them, via written notepad, that the neckpiece had been designed with Energon in mind, not solar intelligence, nor could he explain the process for how he had made the original. Even with his advanced intellect, he couldn't quite figure out how he had designed what he did, likely not without overworking his quirk again. If he tried to do that in order to try and figure out how to cure himself with a similar method, the effort would certainly kill him. Kurai's parents took their youngest son's newest medical development pretty hard. His mother hadn't come home since Akururi was put in the hospital, and his father only came home to sleep, as he was either working or spending time with his family in Akururi's hospital room. Feeling guilt-ridden by the whole ordeal, Kurai only visited his brother once a day, and for less than an hour each time. He simply couldn't figure out how to interact with his brother anymore, even though the boy had been given a tablet so that he could write or type out whatever he wanted to communicate. Gone were the easy exchanges, the friendly insults, the subtle excitement about the next anime episode or movie that they had been looking forward to. Akururi didn't have the energy to waste on such things anymore. If he was going to talk, it would be about something related to his health or doctor. The sight of his kid brother broke his heart, and Kurai doubted whether he would ever really recover from this. Next on the list of negatives was that Kurai's sleep cycles had suffered greatly due to nightmares that had begun to plague him with increasing regularity. They ranged from watching the people that he loved getting ripped apart by Nomu, or being disintegrated by Shigaraki's hands, and watching his brother taking his last breath as his body spasmed. No doubt the ending that awaited the boy as a result of his sacrifice. Most terrifying of all was the faceless entity that tore through All Might's invincibility and left him as a walking cadaver before turning to him and extending a hand to the terrified boy. "Serve me, or I will take your power for my own and use it to destroy everything that you love," the sinister voice would tell him. As he began to tremble with terror, all for one would laugh at him, knowing that he was helpless before his ancient, unimaginable power. He would always wake up at that point, covered in a cold sweat and wondering, could I resist him? He thought about calling Midoriya a few times, but he would decide against it each time. He's got enough to worry about without me telling him that I've got night terrors. He hoped that he would be able to talk to All Might before they went on the trip. Otherwise, he felt like he might burst from his building nerves and anxieties. He couldn't talk to Mina about it either, at least not the part concerning All for One. She knew that he was having some trouble sleeping, but she couldn't know the true source of his newfound fear. I just hope that this summer camp training will take my mind off of all this, even just a little, he thought during the morning before the day that he was meant to leave with the rest of his class. Just as he finished his breakfast in the hauntingly quiet house, he dropped his cereal bowl at the sound of a doorbell ringing. Cursing in a low voice, he moved toward the front door, thinking that perhaps his father had come home for a change of clothes. However, he was surprised to see Uraraka and Ashido standing on his front porch, both of them wearing big smiles as they bid him a good morning. "Hey, good morning," he said once he found his voice. "What brought you to this part of the neighborhood?" "Deku and Kaminari got permission for us to use the school pool for training today," Uraraka informed him excitedly. "Us girls are going to play some volleyball, but we thought it'd be nice for you to get in a good workout while hanging out with the guys." Yeah, now that I think about it, Midoriya sent a text yesterday." "Holy crap, dude!" Mina suddenly yelped, causing him to flinch and look behind himself, almost as if he expected to be attacked from inside his house. "What?" he asked with confusion as he turned back to his girlfriend, who was looking downward. "What's wrong?" "What's wrong?" she repeated incredulously. "How do you not feel that?" "Oh, man," Uraraka hissed as she saw what had startled her friend. "Hikari, you need to sit down." "Huh?" he asked as he looked down, even as he became aware of a stinging sensation in his legs. Ow. Apparently, when he had dropped the bowl, some of the pieces of the ceramic had wound up burying themselves in his feet and legs, resulting in close to a dozen cuts and stab wounds, some with the broken bit still lodged in his flesh, and all of which were bleeding rapidly. "Come on," Uraraka said as she used her zero gravity on him before he could react. "Keep still while we get you to a couch. Mina, do you know where we could get some cloth to stop the bleeding?" As she spoke, she tugged him along while he floated, negating the need for him to use his legs to get around. "Careful in the kitchen," Kurai warned her, silently berating himself for his stupidity. "There's pieces of a bowl all over the place." "How'd that happen?" she asked as she headed for the hall closet, where his family kept its spare towels and cleaning materials. "Good thing she's been here a few times," Kurai thought as Uraraka guided him to the living room, where there was a couch long enough for him to lie on. Out loud, he answered, "I got startled when you guys rang the doorbell, and I dropped my stuff. It's been really quiet without my family around, sorry." "No, we're sorry for scaring you," Uraraka apologized worriedly as Mina ran into the room with the towels that they needed. "It's okay." "Mina, put one of those underneath him so he doesn't bleed directly on the leather," Uraraka told her friend while hovering Kurai over the furniture. Once the pink girl had done so, they lowered him gently onto the couch before the cork was disengaged, causing him to hiss in pain as his legs were pressed into the fabric. "Sorry, sweetie," Mina apologized with a grimace. "We're gonna get those pieces out." "We have some hydrogen peroxide underneath the bathroom sink," he grunted as Uraraka began to pick carefully at some of the larger shards in his left leg. He knew that the wounds would have to be disinfected. After all, the bowl had not been cleaned when it was dropped. "There's a manicure kit in the mirror with some tweezers, too. Use them on the smaller pieces. He winced as a particularly jagged piece was removed from his foot. Sorry. Ochako apologized again as she deposited the bloody piece on a smaller towel by her legs, while Mina dashed off to get the necessary tools. I'm the one who's sorry, he chuckled weakly. You two should be having fun at the pool, not taking care of an idiot that busted up his legs. Yeah, well, you're my idiot, so I'm going to take care of you, Mina called from up the hall. I just hope that this won't affect your time at summer camp. Maybe we can take you to see Recovery Girl after you get bandaged up, Uraraka told him as she moved to picking at the larger pieces from his right leg, causing him to grunt with pain again. Yeah, that'd be good. He grimaced as Mina returned with the requested items. Oh, man. He knew what was coming next, and he was not looking forward to it. Give him something to bite on, just in case, Uraraka told Mina as she set down the cleaning materials. Once we get all the shards out, we'll have to disinfect, and it's gonna hurt. When'd you get so good at this stuff? The pink girl asked her friend. I want to be a rescue hero, so learning about first aid seemed like a good idea, she answered as she got out the tweezers. Hold his legs still while I do this. You heard the lady, Mina said with an apologetic smile to her boyfriend. I'd kiss it all better, but somehow I don't think that's going to do the trick here. You could always... Ow! Try, he said. Once his wound had been cleaned and bandaged, Mina took care of the mess in the kitchen while Ochako went to cleanse the soiled towels and put the ceramic shards in the trash. Kurai tried to get up to help them, but his girlfriend was having none of it. If you want to do something, pick a movie to watch, she told them as she handed him the TV remote. I'll order us a pizza once we've got the place cleaned up. You're not going to go swim? He asked as he reluctantly did as he was told. The TV in the living room took up most of the wall that faced the kitchen, making it easy to see, even if someone was in the other room. Dude, you're all by yourself and your legs are cut up, she said wryly. I'm not going anywhere unless you can get up without bleeding all over the floor. Yeah, and since we caused the problem, it's the least we could do to make sure that you're okay, Uraraka said as she came back into the room, her hands having been washed of any trace of bloodstains. Besides, you look like you could use some company. And what guy would say no to a couple of cuties like us sticking around? Mina teased him, causing both of her friends to redden rapidly. Mina! Uraraka said, mortified. You have way too much fun with that, Kurai deadpanned, and it's going to cost you. Wait, please tell me you're not... Hey, Alexa, play Revenge of the Sith. You always pick that one! Hey, I'm beat up, he said smugly as he leaned back on the couch. My pity points outweigh your complaints. What's Revenge of the Sith? Uraraka asked blankly, causing Kurai to look at her scandalized. Tell me you're joking, he said. Please tell me you're just pranking me. The brunette shrugged helplessly while Mina groaned and put her face in her hands. Ochaka, you have no idea what you just did, she mumbled through her fingers. Have you not seen Star Wars? Kurai asked hesitantly. Oh, no. Uraraka answered, causing Kurai's left eye to start twitching crazily. I never got into it. Well, you're about to, he declared as he turned on the voice recognition app. Alexa, play A New Hope. As the TV switched over to the old film, Mina uncovered her face and pleaded, Hikari, no! Hikari, yes! Unfortunately for Kurai, he didn't even make it 30 minutes into the movie before he was fast asleep in the crook of his girlfriend's arm. When he opened his eyes again, the sun was beginning to set and the TV was turned off. What the... He mumbled drowsily before he felt someone kiss the top of his head. Hey, Sleepy, Mina said teasingly as he stirred, wincing as the cuts on his legs protested the movements. Uraraka's on her way back with our luggage for the trip, and Todoroki and Midoriya said they'd be here in a little while. Here? He started, then stopped, the implications of what she was saying beginning to sink in. Wait, do you have any idea what my parents would do if I had my friends over without their asking? Especially if it was overnight? Dude, chill. She giggled as she stroked his head, lulling him back into a more lucid state, despite his efforts to remain otherwise. Your dad came by while you were sleeping to get a change of clothes. He's going to spend the night with your mom and brother at the hospital since it's his day off. Ochako explained what happened, and we got permission to stay here, as long as we got a couple of the guys to stay too. We're going to take a taxi to school in the morning, so we're all good there too. My parents are agreed to letting 5 teenagers stay in their house unsupervised, he asked dubiously. To be fair, I think they have bigger concerns right now. True. Also, when were you going to tell me that you were having this much trouble sleeping? She asked him, her voice losing its joking tone. I've never seen anyone crash that hard before. He was quiet for a minute before he answered, I haven't gotten any more than an hour's sleep at a time since we came home. I didn't say anything because I was too busy worrying about Akudori and my parents, I guess. Dude, you gotta take care of yourself too, she scolded him. Now I feel stupid for not noticing how tired you must have been this whole time. I've been living on coffee, he admitted ruefully. Us hanging out at your house with your parents or with the others kind of helped me hide it, I guess. I swear I wasn't doing it on purpose, though. I know, she sighed. You're too focused on what's happening with your friends and family to pay attention to what your body is telling you, even without the recoil from your quirk. But what's keeping you from sleeping? Is it Akururi? Partly. He nodded as he leaned back into her embrace, her arms wrapping around his chest. Mostly it's nightmares, and they just keep getting worse. You slept pretty well while I was here and at the hospital, she pointed out. Yeah, being with you puts me at ease, he said with a faint grin. How dopey is that, huh? Super dopey, but it's also really cute, she half laughed. Her voice became serious again as she murmured, Are you sure it's not your quirk? I asked Akururi. He replied, He said that my insomnia isn't a result of anything that he did. It's more than likely a form of PTSD due to all the craziness since we started school at UA. And with my mom and dad so preoccupied with him, I haven't had the heart to ask them to make me an appointment with a doctor so I could see about getting some sleep medications. Dude, Mina groaned. Yeah, their little boy's super sick, but you're their son too. If you're having a problem like this, you gotta tell them about it so they can get you the help that you need. I'll talk to them when we get back from camp, I promise. He told her. Okay, but I'm spending the night with you on the couch, she informed him, resulting in his being reduced to a sputtering mess. Before he could protest, she squeezed him tightly and said, Not negotiable, Buster. You need to get some real sleep before we go on a training camp, and knowing our teacher, it's gonna be rough. You can't go if your nerves are so shot that you're getting hurt just answering the door. I don't think that's a good, not negotiable, she said stubbornly. If you don't want to be in compromising positions with me, take better care of yourself so that I don't have to. Yes, ma'am, he said meekly. Good boy, she giggled. We can all sleep out here in the living room if it makes you feel better. Yeah, I doubt you'd try anything too bad if the others are in the room, he muttered. Yeesh, don't sound so excited by the idea, she grumbled as she declined to loosen her grip on him. After a moment of companionable silence, he decided to ask, So how did Uraraka like the movie? She loved R2, but that was about it, she answered with what sounded like a devious smile. I don't think I can be friends with her anymore. Despite his concerns, Mina behaved herself both in the presence of their friends and when they were alone that afternoon. When the others arrived from the pool, having picked up their suitcases from their homes already, the pizza had come in, they ate together while watching The Empire Strikes Back, which ironically turned out to be Todoroki's favorite film in the franchise. Kurai slept soundly once again, buried in a warm nest of blankets, pillows, and his cuddly girlfriend. He slept so well, in fact, that it took Mina convincing Todoroki to wake him up with a chill burst to get him out of the couch. Ugh, seriously? He complained as he rubbed the sleep out of his eyes. Looking around at the still dark room, he mumbled, It's not even 7 yet. What gives? We all gotta get showered, eat breakfast, and be at school a little early so the recovery girl can fix your legs. Mina told him as she climbed out of their nest. We can't be late or Mr. Aizawa will probably choke us with a scarf. Oh, yeah. You're taking those extra lessons with him during the week, right? Kurai grumbled drowsily, earning him a pillow to the face that sent him back into the pile of blankets. Ow. At least I'm not the one that clocked him over the head with a sword. Mina snickered as she dropped the pillow. He won't thank you for that. Don't I know it. With the help of his friends, Kurai made it to Recovery Girl's office 30 minutes before the scheduled meeting time for the summer camp. She examined his legs, making note of the fact that Uraraka had cleaned and applied bandages to the wounds with great competence before healing him. This made him feel tired again, but nothing the bus trip wouldn't let him recover. I've also got these for you, the elder heroine said before he could leave. She held out an orange pill container filled with small white tablets and labeled with a name that Kurai did not recognize. What are these? He asked as he accepted them, confused. Sleeping pills? She answered him, surprising him. Seeing this, she explained, I received a call from your mother yesterday that you've been having difficulty sleeping due to the battles you've been through. She asked me to prescribe you with some medicine to help you sleep through the night, so here you go. Oh, thanks, he said dumbly, trying to figure out how his mother knew about his insomnia. It wasn't until he was outside of the nurse's office and saw Mina grinning cutely at him that he put it together. Holding up the pill bottle, he asked, Your work? I talked to your dad about it yesterday after you went back to sleep, she replied. He told your mom, and I'm pretty sure you know the rest. Thank you, he said gratefully as he pocketed the medicine. I guess I'm used to having Akururi around to nag me about this kind of stuff. Well, I know I'm not as smart as him, but I will be doing my best to look out for you from now on. She giggled as she held onto his arm while they walked away from the office. Good, I'm going to need it. Exchange students? Most of Class 1A yelped as they stood in front of the bus that would take them to the summer camp. Yes, Aizawa answered simply. 4 students from the U.S. were approved by Principal Nezi to join this class for the next semester, possibly longer, depending on how well they perform. Even though classes haven't officially resumed, I decided to have them come along for the trip so that you can all get used to one another. He doesn't even know how long they're going to be here? Kirishima said in an aside to Bakugo, who simply grunted. He did tell us that UA is not exactly known for doing things traditionally, Kaminari reminded them. Cool, Uraraka said excitedly as she turned toward Midoriya. This'll be great getting to know student heroes from another country. Around them, the other students were chattering among themselves, wondering just who they would be accepting into their group. Yeah, I can't wait to see what kind of quirks they've got, he agreed, her vibrant energy infecting him. How about that? Mina told Kurai. You've thought about going to be a hero in the US, right? Maybe you can learn from these guys. Maybe, he replied absently as Aizawa turned to face away from their class. That's assuming All For One and his goons don't kill me in Midoriya before I graduate. Class 1A, Aizawa said as he turned around, flanked by 4 new faces that came from the other side of the bus, all of them wearing the UA uniforms. Meet your new peers from the Second Amendment Academy in Austin, Texas. Hi, exclaimed a bright-eyed girl who looked like she should still be in junior high. I'm Ruby. It's nice to meet all of you. She was actually jumping up and down in excitement as she introduced herself to the bewildered class. Chill out, sis, said a tall, attractive girl with shiny blonde hair. You're going to embarrass Weiss. You both tend to embarrass our team on a daily basis back home, so I'm not exactly expecting anything different here, sniffed a thin girl with pure white hair and eyes like a clear winter sky. Turning her upturned nose toward the class, she introduced herself with an elegant bow and the words, I'm Weiss Shini. Whoa! Midoriya yelped involuntarily, causing his friends to look askance at him. Blushing with embarrassment now, he muttered, Sorry, it's just... Shini Industries has been manufacturing gear for heroes since the 2nd generation of pros. Her family has helped people out all over America. Well now, Weiss said as she gave Midoriya an approving look. I didn't think that anyone here would know about my family name. Hang on, isn't your dad's company under investigation for potential quirk ethics and labor law violations? Kurai asked before he could stop himself. I think I heard Dad talking about this a few months ago with an old PI friend from the States. That's none of your business, Weiss snapped, her voice as sharp as an icicle. Wow, and I thought I always gave bad first impressions. Mina giggled while her boyfriend reddened with embarrassment at his gaffe. Don't mind Weiss, she's always like that. The blonde girl grinned as she pulled up a pair of aviators off her face, revealing mischievous violet eyes. Sup, guys? I'm Yang Xiaolong, Ruby's awesome older sister. She is that. Ruby nodded enthusiastically, surprising the UA students again. How's she here if she's younger than her sister? Kurai wondered. Here, Aizawa decided to explain, saying, Ruby is the protege of her uncle, a pro that goes by the name of Crow. She skipped 2 grades already, and if she continues to advance as rapidly as she has been, she might end up graduating before the rest of you do. The class looked at the new girl as she beamed at them again, this time with more critical eyes. Mr. Aizawa wouldn't have let her in her class if she couldn't hold her own with the rest of us, Kurai reasoned. However, he was still having a hard time believing that the little girl with the short hair was capable of going toe-to-toe with the people in his class. I guess time will tell. Do you recognize that hero Crow? Kurai asked in a low tone to Midoriya, who immediately shook his head in the negative. No, he must be a less popular one. I only know the big names from other countries, he answered in a similar tone. Alright, finish your introductions, Aizawa said impatiently, looking at the girl with the black hair, who had been completely silent the whole time. We don't have all day. I'm Blake Belladonna, she said in a quiet voice, her golden eyes flicking from one person to another behind her dark bangs. She's the quiet type, Ruby said with a cheery grin, but we're all super glad to be here. We can't wait to trade with All Might. He's so cool! You gotta be kidding me. Bakugo muttered just loud enough for the newcomers to hear. Since when did UA start accepting grade schoolers? I'd watch what you say, Bakugo. Aizawa warned him as Ruby's gaze wilted. She may not look like much, but she'll wipe the floor with you if you let your guard down around her. His blunt comparison of their skills left most of the class stunned, but it only angered the blonde boy who swore and stormed toward the bus door, small explosions trailing behind him as he went. While he was doing this, the class broke down into smaller groups in order to introduce themselves to the foreign girls. Kurai's group wound up talking to Ruby first, who perked up again after being surrounded by friendlier faces. Ignore Bakugo, we all do, Mina said after they had all introduced themselves to the younger student. How are you liking it here so far? I really like it, Ruby declared happily before reaching up and tapping on one of Mina's horns, much to the surprise of the pink girl. Ooh, they're kind of springy. I thought they'd be hard like a bull. Do they grow back if they break off? Is that part of your powers? Ruby, Yang scolded her sister as she ruffled the younger girl's black and red hair. Turning to Mina, who still looked bewildered, she added, Sorry about her. She gets a little too excited about other people's quirks and goes overboard from time to time. Hey, I'm not a little kid, Ruby said petulantly as she straightened out her hair. Then try acting like it. Yang grinned as she let her sister out from under her hand. Their interaction reminded Kurai of his own relationship with his brother, and his heart ached again. Unaware of his morose thoughts, the blonde American eyed Kurai for a second before asking, "So what's your name, handsome?" "Huh?" He yelped, completely taken aback. "His name is my boyfriend, Kurai," Mina said jealously as she crossed her arms and glared at the taller girl. "Okay, cool your jets, Pinky." Yang grinned. "How was I supposed to know that he's spoken for?" "Can't say I blame you, though. And I'm done here," Kurai said as he began to back away, his face continuing to heat up. "I'm just gonna go find myself that isn't a proverbial minefield. Oh look, there's one now." With that, he speed walked over to where Ida was talking to Todoroki. "Oh man," Ruby pouted while Yang gave Mina an apologetic look. "I didn't get to ask him about his quirk." "We're going to be together for a week before classes even start," Midoriya told her. "I'm sure you'll have plenty of time to talk to him about it." "Good point. So, what does your quirk do?" "They seem like a handful, huh?" Kurai muttered to his old friend as he leaned against the bus. The class was set to board and leave in 10 minutes, but he had decided to spend that time as far away from Yang as was socially acceptable. "The Zhao Long sisters certainly seem energetic, but I doubt we'll have any trouble from Miss Belladonna or Shni." Ida shrugged. "Much like our own class dynamic, they seem to have a variety of character. I'm sure we'll all come together eventually." "Someone should tell that to Bakugo." Kurai smirked before his phone buzzed. Hang on. Pulling out the device, he was surprised to see that he had received an email marked as urgent. After he had unlocked the phone, he opened up the message and was even further intrigued to see that it was from Akururi. Once the bus had been loaded up with all the students, Kurai and Mina found themselves sharing a row with a chattering Midoriya and Ruby, both of them having discovered one another's vast knowledge of quirks and the thirst for greater knowledge on the subject. This placed a disgruntled-looking Uraraka with Yaoyorozu behind the young couple. Having seen this, Kurai nudged Mina and said in a low voice, "Maybe try to talk to her about it later on?" "You kidding?" She snickered, though she too kept her voice down. "I tried to ask her about him one time. She basically did what you used to do whenever I flirted with you." "Ah," he said abashedly. "Well, maybe it'll just sort itself out." "Hopefully in a way that results in those two still being friends," she replied. "What's up, guys?" Uraraka's voice startled the both of them, so they turned around to see her and Yaoyorozu giving them puzzled looks. "You've been super quiet since we left the school." Sorry about that," Kurai answered as he scratched at his head. "We were just talking about my brother. I got an email from him right before we left." "You did?" Yaoyorozu asked worriedly. "Is he okay?" "Relatively speaking, I mean." "Yeah, he started getting used to the wheelchair that Professor Shield and Melissa designed for him," he replied with a smile. The gift had arrived 2 days ago from I-Island, with well wishes from the two scientists. It's motorized so he doesn't have to use his arms too much to get around, and it comes with a built-in computer and display screen so that he can use it to talk with people instead of writing stuff down. "That's so nice of the Shields to do that for him," Uraraka said happily. "Yeah, they said it was kind of their way of saying thank you to Akururi for keeping Melissa safe," Kurai explained. "Did he say anything else?" Mina asked him curiously. "We got loaded up before you showed me the rest of it." "Yeah, he did." The boy nodded as he glanced up the aisle to make sure that Aizawa wasn't listening in on them. After all, he had no idea how his teacher would react to the knowledge that he had deliberately altered his quirk in such a risky manner, but he was reasonably certain that the reaction would be a negative one. Once he was sure that they were being covered by the noise of everyone else chattering loudly, he said, "Since he's finally stabilizing, he was able to tell me about some of the changes to my quirk that I can make use of." "Will they hurt you?" Mina asked worriedly. Here, Kurai hesitated, but he was quick to reply, "Nothing so bad as my old recoil, but I'll have to be careful in some situations. I'm just glad my life won't be in danger every time I totally let loose with my powers." "That's good," Uraraka said with a sigh of relief. "You're telling me," Mina sighed as she leaned against Kurai. "No more hospital visits for you, got it? Leave all those to your brother." "Gladly." The boy chuckled again, but his eyes remained sad. About 2 hours passed before Aizawa pulled the bus over so that the students could stretch their legs in a rest stop that overlooked a massive forest, which ran all along a mountain range that curved around like a crescent moon. Kurai was glad of the chance to stand up and move around, as he'd been fairly inactive for the last few days, especially when his legs got cut up the previous evening. "I wonder if we get cell service out here," he muttered as he pulled his scouter out of his pocket and attached it to his ear. "Why did you bring that?" Todoroki asked as he walked up to his friend. "I want to be wearing it so that if my parents call about my brother, I can respond ASAP," he answered as he powered the device on. He was pleased to see that he was getting a strong signal, despite the fact that they were fairly removed from civilization. That and Akururi sent it a software update before we went to I-Island. I want to see if it works. "What does it do?" the other boy asked curiously. "Well, it doesn't read energy levels per se, but it does scale a quirk's abilities in comparison to my own powers," Kurai answered. Basically, it lets me know if I'm totally outclassed or if I'm going to be able to mop the floor with someone. Power isn't everything, Todoroki pointed out, which Kurai nodded in agreement. I know, but it'll sure help knowing how plus ultra I'll have to go when I'm up against some new villain, the boy replied. Fair enough. By the way, Todoroki, Kurai asked, I don't see a bathroom anywhere, he said as he glanced at a black car that was pulling up next to the bus. Isn't that kind of weird for a rest stop? I was hoping that I was just being paranoid, the half-and-half teen muttered under his breath. Now the question is, what is Mr. Aizawa up to? Whatever it is, I'm sure we'll hate it. 2 introductions later, and he was proven correct. As it turned out, UA had reached out to a 4-person hero team called the Wild Wild Pussycats in order to help the students go through an intense training program designed to push their quirks past their limits. And it apparently started with one of the heroines, a woman named Pixie Bob, using her quirk to control the earth and hurl them off the cliffside, and into the forest that Kurai had been admiring earlier. Ow! The boy grumbled as he checked to make sure that his scouter hadn't been damaged. Once he had ascertained its safety and functionality, he glared up at the overhang where another one of the pussycats, Mandalay, was smiling down at them. Good news, guys, she called down to them. This is all private land, so you can use your quirks as much as you want. Remember, make it to the base of the mountain by 12, or you don't get lunch. The mountain she had described was easily 3 hours away on foot, and that was only if they made good time. Oh man, I thought we'd gotten away from all this. Ruby groaned as she brushed dirt off her uniform. What are you talking about? Midoriya asked her. Back at Second Amendment, we all got tossed off the side of a mountain and were told to retrieve artifacts from this forest temple that the school had set up. Blake told him as she picked at a clod of dirt that had gotten stuck into a bow at the top of her head. People that didn't make it back with an artifact were denied access to the school. The place was full of forest animals that had quirks, and they were all super aggressive. Ruby piped up. That was a long day. Man, I thought our entrance exam was tough. Ojiro grunted as he helped Jiro get to her feet. Something tells me that we're about to get an idea of what our new friends went through. Kurai muttered as his scouter gave him a proximity alert. That's weird. What's wrong? Ida asked him as he tapped the fresh button on the device. I'm picking up movements in the trees, but no energy signatures, he replied. Enough standing around! Bakugo snarled as he dashed into the forest. I'm gonna blast whatever gets in my way straight to hell! Yeah, Yang laughed as she ran after him. This guy's got the right attitude. How did someone with such a vulgar vocabulary get into a school as prestigious as this one? Weiss asked as the others began to chase after them. He's got an attitude problem, that's for sure, but you don't want to end up facing him in combat, Kurai replied. He doesn't hold back for anything or anyone. Let's see how far that takes him. Blake muttered as they saw something moving within the shadows of the trees. Something big and probably dangerous. Let's go, Class 1A! Ida exhorted them. Ah, yeah! Ruby added. Come on, guys! Let's go beyond! Plus Ultra! Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that opening chapter for Phase 2. I think it's a good setup. I think it's a good setup for what's about to happen.
So we have...
So yeah, let's go over... Let's break it down.
Yeah, so obviously Kurai's kind of dealing with a lot, opening up. Mm-hmm. We've got,
he's already, he's definitely suffering from PTSD.
Yeah.
Let's do a recount on what he's had to go through so far. The fight with Nomu at the beginning of the year, confronting his uncle's killer. While it was cathartic, that still would do a number on you. His big fight with Ida over a clash of ideals. Now this latest thing with his brother on Island.
Mm-hmm. So he's got a lot of guilt about that. Yep. Even though he knows that he couldn't have stopped him, he still is feeling guilty.
He had that conversation with his mom. He was like, I can't stop thinking about the could-haves, would-haves, should-haves. And she's like, you said it yourself. You couldn't have stopped him.
But he's still going to be dealing with that. And so, of course, and their relationship has been altered a little bit because he's got so much guilt. He just doesn't know how to talk to him anymore.
Yeah. And, it's, it hasn't been said in as many words, but, it's clear from their interactions, throughout. It's, his brother gets on his nerves a whole lot, but that's one of his best friends. Yeah. He loves him. That's one of his best friends. He hasn't kept many of his friends growing up, It's pretty much been Ida and his brother. Because, he doesn't really talk to anybody from his old middle school because he's pursuing a very different path of life than they are. So he's suffered a pretty huge loss.
Yeah. And so, of course, he and Mina are getting pretty close, which is nice. But, with everything else, it's just...
That can only do so much for him.
Yeah. And so we have...
That does beg the question, though, like, where would he be if he didn't have that positive influence on him right now?
He'd probably be a mess. Or more of a mess. So we have the Mina and, oh my gosh. Uraraka. I'm asleep.
Poor guy. Jump scare him. He has to...
That is so something I would do, though. Because I jump out of my skin at everything.
I remember this one time we were living in an apartment, and Jonathan knows that she hates it when people knock on her windows. So what he does is he comes up to the kitchen was right by the front door. We had a big window that faced out the
and
face
there's a
out the
little
parking lot.
ledge on the outside of the window.
Yeah. So Jonathan hides below that ledge, waits for her to like come close, like putting some dishes away or something, and then jumps up and bangs on the window.
Yeah, he jumps up on the ledge in his funny Jonathan way and starts banging on the window. Scared me to death. I fell. I screamed. I fell. My shirt got stuck on the drawer behind me, so I couldn't get up. And so
help!
once
I've fallen and I can't get up.
They had to help me because I was all tangled up and my shirt was just hanging on the stupid cabinet. I was so mad. I don't even know. It was funny. It was funny, but it scared me to death. Yeah. So that's totally something I would do. Dropping.
From then on, anytime we knew that Jonathan was going to be coming, we just shut the blinds so he wouldn't have the opportunity to...
Yeah, there's something about, like, the sound of knocking on glass always, like, gets me just because of some stuff I've been through. So, man, ugh. Anyway.
Sorry.
So, poor Kurai.
He ends up freaking out, shatters the bowl, and...
Get blood everywhere.
Yeah, get blood everywhere. Like, I don't know, like... Writing it, I felt like some people might question whether or not it's overkill, like the amount that he was bleeding. So I have a story to back that up. This was when I was living in Australia. Josh was in the shower, and what we had this like the ceramic. It was like a ceramic bar where you put soap, and Josh, for whatever reason, thought it'd be a good idea to lean on it while he was singing in the shower. It broke under his weight and shattered, and like one of the shards like went in his foot. And, he didn't think it was that deep, so he pulled it out. And then, like, we just hear him yelling. So mom, mom goes and, like, opens the door, and there's just blood, like, all over the floor. Like, it's ridiculous how much... It's like a little cut, like, this size. And, like, blood's just coming out. Like, I think he cut an artery or something, but, like, it was everywhere. And I'm just like, oh, my God. And my mom turns to me, she's like, all right, I gotta bandage him up. You clean it up. I'm like, what? She said, yeah, clean it up. And I'm like, okay. So I start trying to mop it up. I'm like, I think I'm going to throw up. This is ridiculous. My mom's like, no, you're not. You're not, or you're grounded. You're not going to throw up or you're grounded. What a mom thing to say.
That is such a mom thing to say.
Of course, from her perspective, she's like, oh no, I'm not cleaning up blood and some kid's puke.
Some kid, you're her child. But even so, yeah, I don't want to clean up my kid's puke if I can help it. But yeah, so long story short, yes.
And this is when I was sick, too, so I would have had, like, acid puke, too.
Oh.
Yeah, that would have been great.
I needed that picture, thanks. So, yeah. So
that's right, guys, I'm the alien.
But I feel like it's easy for me to see that you could hurt yourself pretty badly by dropping a ceramic bowl on yourself. Yeah, and,
and Kurai and Uraraka, they get along, like, both of them get along really well with Deku, but I wouldn't call them super close. Like, they worked together during the cavalry battle, and that was great. Mm-hmm. But, like, ever since then, they haven't really had a whole lot of opportunities to, like, interact, like, almost one-on-one. And I thought this was a good way to kind of reopen that. And she gets to showcase, like, she's mentioned that she wants to be a rescue hero, like 13. So it would make sense for her to know a little bit more about, like, medical first aid and all of that. So I figured this was a good way to kind of showcase that a little bit. Yeah,
so they come in, take care of him, he passes out. We have the Star Wars moment, which is pretty funny.
Yep, I mean, got Boba Fett happening right here. I'm like, anytime someone's like, I don't like Star Wars, I'm just like, I cannot be friends with you. Get out of my life.
Yeah, I decided to have we have a similar reaction there with Kurai.
Yeah. I also thought it'd be funny to make The Empire Strikes Back Todoroki's favorite film because he hates his dad, and
that would be pretty funny. I like that. I did not click on that at all. That's pretty funny. Yeah. So overprotective dad, just like, yeah, whatever, as long as there's other boys here, I don't care, I'm tired. So we've got, we have our fun little sleepover, so I think that's cool.
Yep.
I was kind of stoked about that.
Yep.
And then of course,
so there's a lot of contention on this one from her. She was like, really? You're going to bring in those characters? I'm like, yes. And I maintain that I was actually going to bring in some extra characters to begin with. And for reasons that I'll get to later in the story, but I was going to bring in an extra set of 4 characters. And my reasoning was going to be, in this version, the teachers would be like, okay, look, we're getting more and more threats from the League of Villains. The hero killer stain has inspired new people to action. This is getting dangerous. Maybe we should think about increasing the amount of hero students that we're training. So the same line of reasoning still happens, but this time, Aizawa and Nezu decide to bring in someone from the outside, someone who's already been well trained, instead of trying to train up a new batch of kids, which to me makes a little more sense. Now, originally, I was going to have
original characters, right?
I was going to have 3 original characters, and I was also going to have Shinzo, the guy with purple hair and brainwashing abilities. Deku fights him in the original anime. Sorry, excuse me. And I was going to come up with 3 other characters to also fill in the slots, but I'm sure one of the things you guys have noticed about me, I have a hard time coming up with a diverse set of characters. Most of my, even though their personalities are kind of different, they all tend to have more or less have this similar outlook on life. And I didn't think it would be good for the class dynamics for me to bring in 3 or 4 more people just like that. So I thought, hey, maybe I should bring in a cast of characters that already have a pretty diverse set of attitudes.
Their personalities.
Their personality established. Yeah. So enter Team Ruby. And this is, I will admit, some of this is also for sentimental purposes. Growing up, for me, one of the coolest TV shows was the Teen Titans. The young superheroes were up and coming on the scene, and they're getting stuff done. They're holding their own with the adults. That to me was so cool. And then also Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Stuff like that. And then there was a gap, there was an absence of that for a lot of years of my life. And then, it was either kid superheroes or the adult superheroes. There wasn't really an in between. And then came along the Ruby show, created by Monty Oum and helmed by Rooster Teeth. And for me, it was kind of bringing some of that magic back.
It was so funny because when the show first came out, it was pulling teeth, him getting me to watch it, because I did not like it at all. The animation drove me crazy. But as the story progressed, up until Monty passed away, I finally got really into it right when everything started sucking.
Yeah, so I've seen everything up to season 5. After that, I decided to stop watching for a number of reasons that I won't get into right now. But it just kind of didn't feel the same to me anymore. It's sadly, I don't think the show is going the way that Monty had originally envisioned it. Now, that's just my 2 cents on it. I didn't know the guy. I don't work at Rooster Teeth, obviously. So I can't say for sure, but it feels like the show definitely started taking off in a different direction than it felt from the beginning. And it just kind of the buzz died for me. And you guys know me, you know that if I see something that has a lot of potential and I feel like it was wasted, my intent is usually to try and make use of it. That's part of what I'm doing here, is I think there was a lot of potential wasted with a lot of Ruby characters, and so we're going to bring Team Ruby. So from their point of view, they've done a semester of hero studies already, so in terms of personalities and the way that they relate to one another, I would say you probably want to put their mentality at the beginning or middle of season 2. So they've come together, they've kind of gotten over most of their interpersonal issues and they're working together pretty well. But now we're going to throw them into a new class of really eccentric people. We're going to see how that works out, and I'm looking forward to it. And sorry, I had something else that I was going to say and I totally spaced it. I'm sorry. But yeah, no, that was another thing. So originally it was going to be 3 guys and 1 girl that I was going to come up with, because that's already kind of the guy-girl ratio is almost 3-1 in Class 1A. And I thought that I thought about continuing that, but then I was like, nah, let's try and balance it out a little bit. So that was another reason why I brought in a team of all girls.
Which, hey, I mean, I think they're really cool characters. I was just really caught up. I think I was enjoying the story so much. I was like, no, don't do this. You're not combining these two universes for me.
And see, I'm not.
You're not.
No,
So
I define a crossover as when, for me personally, whenever I do a crossover, it's not just when you bring characters from one universe into another. It's when you blend aspects of both stories together. And I'm not doing that with this one. These characters are from the Second Amendment Academy. Yes, it's run by Professor Ozpin. Yes, Team Juniper's back there. Team Cardinal's over there. Whatever. It's a different history. Yes, they'll have some history that lines up with some things that happen in the show, but this is not the world of Remnant meeting the world of My Hero Academia. This is an alternate universe where they've been there. They've always been there. So we're carrying on from there.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I've gotten used to it at this point, but it's so funny because sometimes he'll be sharing his outlines with me, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden the Ruby characters come up, and I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, they're in the story.
In this story.
Ew. But no, I don't dislike them. That's usually my reaction because I enjoy the characters
part of what
established so well already.
Yeah, I think part of what it was is like you kind of like the thought that like, okay, you've already got this set of 20 people, like how can you possibly like it just feels like you're shoehorning these guys in.
Yeah, that's what I felt like.
But then I started telling you about some of the stuff that I had planned later on.
Yes,
and they are essential to it.
They are. I was just.
So I'm not bringing them in just cause I have a plan. I always have a plan. When are you guys gonna learn to trust me on that?
Yeah, no, I'm starting to enjoy it gradually. Yeah, I don't know. We'll get there. But yeah, so we have the Ruby characters. They start their first trial of the training camp. Mm-hmm. And so here we go. And what I thought was interesting that you mentioned animals with quirks.
Yeah, that
was kind of funny.
Yeah, there are animals with quirks in them.
Nuh-uh.
Like, they don't come up very often, but yeah, I'm like 87%
manga?
sure that they definitely... Yeah, they have animals with quirks in this world. Yeah.
Did you guys know this? I didn't know this. I don't read the manga, though. So.
I don't read the manga either. I was just looking up some information, like, about the world, and I was looking up some information about the world, and one of the things that came along was that there are animals with quirks.
That took me off guard, just like ninja animals took me off guard. I was like, why is that kangaroo talking?
Well, here's the thing. Oh, no, okay. They definitely have animals with quirks, because that's what Nezu is. Their principal. He's an animal with the superhuman intelligence of a human.
This is true.
Yeah, he wasn't born a human. He's an animal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they definitely have animals with quirks.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I know there's some proof in there, but I just can't remember. Oh, wait, it's the principal. There it is.
All right, yeah, so part of me was like, oh man, I would like to see like animals with quirks in your iteration of Ruby. That'd be fun.
That'll happen eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But so as we wrap up phase one was the challenge of Kurai's body. He had a quirk that made him immensely powerful, but also risked killing him every time he cut loose with it. He no longer has that problem. He will have that doesn't make him all powerful though. Like his quirk isn't just automatically at its maximum. That fight alongside Deku and All Might, that is the last time we're going to see him use his quirk that way.
But now we've got the struggle of the mind.
Yes. So phase 2 is going to be more about the struggle of the mind, him trying to overcome his guilt, his insecurities about what his actions or lack of actions have begotten. And that's going to definitely, it's going to do a bigger number on him than the challenge on his body did. Mm-hmm. So every time a new phase comes around, it is going to be significantly harder than the last one. So
why you do this?
Yeah, no. Phase 1 was the easy part, guys. Sorry, my machine is telling me off.
People with diabetic pumps, man, they think they're so funny.
We are funny. Mm-hmm. We're just pumped full of joy. I'm funny. So next chapter will be them getting through them learning how to work together through the forest. We're going to get to see Team Ruby in action alongside their UA counterparts now, and we'll definitely start to see some relationships starting to form, which I'm looking forward to. And I'm definitely looking for. So my personal favorite is Deku and Ruby's upcoming relationship because like they're both giant nerds. it's inevitable that they're gonna befriend each other.
Dorks.
It's gonna be hilarious.
I love it.
It's gonna be hilarious. But you've also got Uraraka kind of getting jealous on the side, so there's gonna be that.
She does.
She does it anyway. Yeah, she does it anyways.
Like,
she does it anyways. But that's okay. That's okay. But it will. Yeah, them being here. Like, a lot of stories that I've seen where they do crossovers, it's like each group will kind of just keep to their own side and not really intermingle. I'm making an active effort to avoid that. The interactions that the Team Ruby characters have with Class A will definitely bring them all closer together and cause new interactions to form. And I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys take that, what you make of them. Here's to an exciting start to the beginning of Phase 2. And this one's going to be a little shorter than the last one. It won't last for a full year, but it's still going to be a few months out before it's done. So, I don't know. Any closing thoughts? Nope. You're all out.
Bruh,
all out of gas.
Bruh, I've taught 450 students today. By my last class, my words were all coming backward, and all my 5th graders were looking at me like, what is wrong with this?
Until you told them that My Hero Academia dub comes out.
I know, they lost their minds. They're so excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. I know, that's why I told them. I was like, guys, the dub of the new season, like the first episode is going to be dubs tomorrow. And they were like, what? They were all freaking, I love this. One of my schools, all the kids are weebs. It's wonderful. I love it. Love it. So, I have a lot of fun. Anyway.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sticking around for a year. And here is to a few more, hopefully. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay plus ultra.